I have been waiting for this matchup for a very long time. In one corner, you have the Trinity Killer, and in the other, Lord Voldemort. Conclave is directed by Edward Berger. He did the All Quiet on the Western Front movie a couple years back, and this is a film that follows the proceedings of which a pope has died and now a new one must be appointed, and the whole politics that go behind the scenes. So let's talk about the categories and let's give it a score. First, let's talk about acting because, when it comes to a slow burn movie, you kind of really rely on your actors and being really on point with what they're trying to do. First, we have Ralph Fiennes, who plays Lawrence, the main character of this story. He's kind of the guy that a lot of people say, hey, do you want to be Pope? And he's kind of like, no, thank you. But a lot of people think that he would be a great Pope. But he's just kind of like, what? But during this film, he's trying to unravel a lot of secrets that are going on within the church. And of course, he's trying to also get his buddy appointed, and that's played by Stanley Tucci. Tucci plays Bellini, and he's this guy who is just, okay, I'll do it, and he's very progressive with what his thoughts are, and he is just absolutely phenomenal in this movie. And then you have John Lithgow, who plays Tremblay, and he's just, I don't know, he's kind of everything you think about when you think of churches kind of like this, in terms of like, I don't know, scumminess and always kind of trying to undermine people. And he plays this very, very well because he's kind of this slimy guy who's always sleeping into the cracks, and you're kind of like, dude, go away. All three of them put on absolutely phenomenal performances and helps carry this film, but also the supporting cast is absolutely brilliant. To me, there wasn't one person, one character, one actor in this whole entire movie that stood out kind of like, yeah, you're the sore thumb. Then you also do get more people who are running for this Pope position, and they are equally as entertaining, but also have their secrets, but also have their positives. Each one, of course, is surrounded by a group of supporters, and during the whole entire movie, everyone's just completely on. No one's stopping. Brilliant. So with that all being said, acting gets a 1 out of 1, 1 star category score. Let's move on to the next. Then we talk about visuals, and holy crap, yeah. This film is beautiful. A lot of horror films now are pretty much being taken place in churches. And yeah, it can be creepy, but also the architecture can be quite beautiful. And this film really plays into that very impressively. The framing of the shots that they continuously take and follow these actors doing their thing is so beautiful. Let's also talk about the color play because, of course, they are the Cardinals and they always wear red, for the most part. And there's a lot of white that they play on too. And it's just, you have all this color play that I love. I love colors in film when they do beautiful things like this. There's also one shot in particular that's literally my favorite shot of the whole entire film. All the members of the church are going through this kind of courtyard. This courtyard's completely white, and there's a fountain in the middle, and it's this overhead shot, and all you do is you see all these guys in red holding white umbrellas because it's raining, and it's just stunning. There's nothing really else to say other than it's kind of peak perfection when it comes to cinematography of what I prefer just in a film. So with all that being said, I'm going to give it a full star. Now let's talk about audio because, just like the visuals of everything, the audio of everything is perfect as well. The score in particular is also just so simple, yet so mature with how it's being used. They have kind of the same theme playing over and over and over again at certain key moments, but also limiting music when you don't need it. When I also say that they're limiting music, I also mean that they're also limiting the normal audio as well. When it comes to like a lot of the background noises, sometimes that helps create an atmosphere, but sometimes it can get a bit distracting. In this film, they do a brilliant job in certain scenes to slowly negate the whole entire background noise so you get more like in depth of what you're listening to when it comes to the character speaking. It's brilliant. It's done to just absolute chef's kiss perfection. I enjoyed it. I was in on it the whole time. I could hear all the characters just where the whole entire score. Brilliant. Not much more to say. Give me a full star. Let's move on to the next category. And then we have the story. Now you might be saying, wow, high praise. Is he going to say high praise for the story? Yes and no, because I do love me some slow burns. And this one's, I would say a slow burn, but it's also a very mature film. To me, this isn't a film that you're going to probably bring anyone younger than 16, 17, 18. Like, it's not like mature in terms of like themes that people just won't understand at that age. It really comes down to, it's just kind of just a grown-up movie. It's hard to describe. It's very much of a bunch of guys talking about certain decisions that probably young people don't really care about. And I don't think it's for kids. I don't even think it's for teens. Hell, I don't even think it's for some young adults either. But besides the point, the story is very intriguing. You do get this kind of peel back, open up the curtain to how the process of getting a new pope is after one has passed away. To see the politics and the behind the scenes stuff that probably is a little dramatized, of course, being played into effect, like all these moving parts and pieces. And it's kind of this chess match at times going from different opposition characters. It's really quite entertaining. But my biggest issue with the film is its predictability. With slow films like this, it's really hard to enjoy a film that you kind of know where it's heading. It's okay to have a broad sense of, well, I think that this is going to happen. This film does that. I knew from the jump within the first 30 minutes, this is what's going to happen. That's my prediction. And it kind of screwed me over because, yeah, it happened. And I kind of went, I don't even think I was like thinking too deeply. If you watch the film, you're definitely going to kind of catch up on what's going on pretty quickly. Now, there is also another thing at the end that I didn't see coming. I mean, they kind of laid some seeds. So, like, thinking back on it, I kind of go, I guess, but it comes out of nowhere. It's not a bad thing per se, but it's something that I'm kind of like, oh, okay. Was I in love with the decision? No. Did I hate it? Also, no. I was just kind of fine with it. It was kind of just like, oh, the sour taste was already in my mouth because they went in the direction I thought they were going to go. So I kind of was like, oh, okay. So with that being said, I'm just going to give it a half a star on story. I think that it makes sense for the story they're trying to tell with the decisions they made, but it also becomes too predictable in a film that goes pretty slow paced. It's kind of hard to watch when you kind of know the direction that they're heading. Half a star out of 1 within this category. I really enjoyed this film. Of course, like I do have my issues with the story as a whole, but I do see myself revisiting this movie. It's not something where I kind of went, the story was kind of rough at times. I didn't enjoy it. The whole entire ending didn't put a complete sour taste in my mouth. I was kind of like, ugh. Didn't really like that, but I also, again, I didn't hate it. It was the right move. It was the right pick. It was the right everything that they were setting up. It just, to me, was kind of hard to watch over the course of the 2-hour runtime. But it's hard not to love the acting performances that were done by the brilliant actors and the supporting actors that did their work. The beautiful cinematography, set design, beautiful architecture that they played their shots so well into. The score is brilliant. The sound mix is just absolutely perfection for a story that is just a little bit too predictable. So, with the enjoyment category, I am generous. I'll give it a full star in the enjoyment category. So, if you're keeping track at home, Conclave gets a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I think the movie is fantastic.